we're not almost there.
Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, I'm going to show you how to get strong AF without killing your lower back. Before I get into this topic, if you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. The best topic ideas I turn into videos just like this. All right, I got my handy dandy little cheat sheet because I have 10 tips here to save your lower back while getting strong AF. One of the top issues in coaching and one of the top issues for you guys as you're building strength is that you tend to tear up your lower back. A lot of guys will dive into the compound movements, the barbells, and all that happy horse shit, and they'll find that they have lower back issues or they'll develop lower back issues. So these 10 tips should help you to get stronger and not beat up your lower back as much. All right, number one, bulldozer rows, or my kind of rows. The kind of rows where you set the dumbbell down in between reps. Some of the most punishing movements on the lower back are ones you don't expect. Number one, dumbbell rows. And number two, Pendlay rows, or barbell rows, which I'm going to get into in just a second. But dumbbell rows tend to beat up your lower back. They're kind of a stealth movement. And when I post my variation, what I call a bulldozer row, where you set the dumbbell on the floor in between reps and then pull from the floor, that little bit of break where you're setting the weight down actually relieves a little bit of pressure and stress on the lower back. And I find allows me to generate a little bit more power. So it's kind of a win-win. So if you're doing dumbbell rows, consider switching to this movement type. I basically just prop one hand up, get in kind of a three-point stance and pull from there. Number two is going to be Pendlay rows, switching to Pendlay rows. If you're doing a barbell row, eventually, if you've messed around with it for a while, you notice you start to tend to get more and more upright as you get stronger. And it can place more and more stress on your lower back. A Pendlay row, to me, is kind of the same thing as the bulldozer row. You're setting the bar down on the ground. You get to brace your core in between reps, and you get to pull. And you're going to get a lot out of this movement. It's going to feel, in my opinion, much better than a barbell row. And the action of just setting the bar down in between reps is going to save your lower back. These two exercises, the dumbbell row and the barbell row, more than any combination will beat up your lower back. More than any combination other than squats and deadlifts will beat up your lower back. So strongly consider the first two tips. All right, number three, hex bar. If you have a hex bar, use it. You don't have to use it every single session. You could alternate between conventional deadlifts one week and hex bar the next. Or you could even do hex bar one week and a rack or block pull the next. There's no reason you have to pull off the floor. So just consider using that hex bar, working that in the long run for somebody that's that's not trying to compete in powerlifting. A hex bar is really going to save stress on your lower back. The bar is more over the middle of the body rather than front of the body, and that simple change is going to place less stress on your lower back and give you a little bit better leverages. All right, number four, ease slowly into squats and deadlifts. This is a big one. All the programs on the worldwide interwebs, like Strong Lifts and Starting Strength, and a lot of programs that beginners tend to gravitate towards, place a lot of focus on the barbell movements. And we've elevated the barbell movements, especially squats and deadlifts, into some cult-like lifts. The problem with this is people dive into them too quickly and ends up beating the shit out of your lower back. So when it comes to squats and deadlifts, yes, you can do these as a novice and as a beginner, but I don't recommend attacking them as aggressively as a lot of these programs say. In my years of coaching, over and over and over again, I see people attacking these lifts before they have form down, before they have good confidence with form, and it just ends up beating the living shit out of their lower back. So it's okay to have these movements in, maybe reduce volume a little bit, Maybe reduce frequency a little bit. There's no need for you to squat more than one time a week, cough, cough, strong lifts, which is one of the worst fucking ideas I've ever seen in the program, squatting 3 times a week as a novice. Ease into things. Maybe just go super moderate weight until you have form absolutely crushed. And even then, we can kind of ease into weight additions. We don't need to rush into weight additions. If you took 6 months to really get your form down, and even then, if you only added 5 pounds a month to these lifts, after 4 or 5 years, you'd be Hulk strong. You'd be pretty darn strong, and you'd probably have a stronger lower back. All right, number 5, chill on your Romanian deadlifts until you get your squat and deadlift form pretty manageable. RDLs are something that are tossed into programs automatically, and if you are struggling with your squat or deadlift form, you probably should chill a little bit on RDLs until you get your squats down, until you get your deadlifts down, because you don't want the extra lower back pressure from doing these lifts with subpar form, to create lower back issues, and then you're doing RDLs on top of it. So maybe consider using some milder lower back milder exercises for your hamstrings that are milder on your lower back, like glute ham raises or ghetto glute ham raises on a back extension machine, leg curls, that sort of thing. All right, number 6, do back extensions. Do back extensions. If you have a back extension station at your gym, you might want to consider using this. Using it a couple times a week or just once a week. Don't go super aggressive on progression. Let progression come to you. Add reps and weight when you can. You can add weight by holding a plate on your chest or even holding a dumbbell or whatever the case may be. But just doing some basic back strengthening exercises will help. And especially if you're not sure if you're ready for RDLs, or if you're just kind of putting deadlifts on the back burner while you work on form, it might be a good idea to work in some back extensions to bring up your back strength. All right, number 7, do some core strengthening work. I don't like ab work. I don't like conventional ab work. I don't like crunches and sit-ups and all that kind of bullshit. I'm just not a fan. It just feels tedious and pointless. What I do recommend, though, is doing some basic core strengthening work to complement things like back extensions, like planks. You can also, if you don't like counting time in planks, you can do shoulder tap planks. From the plank position, you can tap your shoulders like 1, 2, 3 from the plank position. That way you can count reps instead of time, and it's a lot more manageable. You can also do ab wheel rollouts, which I'm a big fan of, or things like that. Basic core strengthening work is only going to help, help prevent back issues, build some basic core strength, build a foundation, and that will only help you when you're doing your squats and deadlifts and help you fight off lower back issues. All right, number 8. Do seated overhead press variations. When you're doing the military press has really taken off in popularity in the last 10 years. And I remember back in the day talking about doing a lot of pressing, and some of the bodybuilders would give me heat because they thought, oh, you're going to do too many overhead presses, you're going to destroy your shoulders. They had this fear of destroying their shoulders with overhead presses, when in reality their bad bench press form was the thing really destroying their shoulders. But seated overhead presses with the angle of the seat back about 70 degrees. It's hard to get my hand in the right position here, but angle that back about 70 degrees. I like to put the seat up just a little bit so I can kind of saddle in there a little bit. And I also like to lean back into it. By having a little bit more friendly leverage position on your seated overhead presses, you're still going to hit your delts. You're going to tend to be about 10% stronger on seated pressing than you are on standing presses. You're going to be more stable. And just by not standing, just by having that upper back support, you're going to take pressure off your lower back. All right, number 9, on squats. There is this weird obsession with ass to grass squats to the point where some guys are going so low that it's causing butt wink and a loss of tightness in their core, in their lower back, and you can see their lower back rounding in the hole, and their lower back is taking a beating. No matter how deep you go on squats, don't go so deep that your lower back loses tightness and starts to round. This is a recipe for absolutely tearing up your lower back. Get to depth, and if you can go a little bit lower than depth naturally and comfortably, that's great. But don't think you have to go so deep that you have to do so at the expense of your lower back health. And finally, number 10, be patient. Be patient with exercises that are intense on the lower back. Be patient. If you love lifting, you're going to be doing it for a long period of time. There's no sense rushing in the squats, rushing in the deadlifts, rushing in the RDLs, and rushing into any other exercise, good mornings or front squats or whatever, that are lower back intense. Take your time. Over time, if you give your lower back some space and time to strengthen, and then start to improve or really focus or go harder on progressive overload, it's going to save you a lot of grief. I can't tell you the number of lower back issues I deal with or see on a daily basis. So guys, hope this video has been of some help. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. If you made it this far in this video and have yet to subscribe to my channel, please do. I'd appreciate the support. So guys, as always, thanks for watching. Have a great day. And you can get this at superlivingtoday.com. I make about $2.